been, you know, a lot of names come up. There's been a lot of people make a lot of incredible progress. You know, 2 or 3 years ago, people were talking about how the open class, you know, had a big dip, and, you know, last year people were talking about how it's the best it's been since, you know, the late 90s, early 2000s. So, you know, big change in the last couple years, and that's made, you know, everyone step their game up. I know for me personally, you know, headed into this year, I knew who was already qualified and who I probably wouldn't see, and who wasn't qualified and I probably would see. And it definitely makes you keep your head down and work, you know. So, you know, I don't know who's doing Tampa. I don't really care. I don't know who's doing Texas, and I don't really care, honestly. It's going to be, you know, me and Andrew and several other really great athletes at Texas, and that's going to be a dogfight. You know, he's got an absolutely incredible physique, all the tools in the world. And, you know, he's young in the sport, and I guess that could be like the one thing, you know, that I got to try and capitalize on. And he's got some, you know, like holes in the side shots, and, you know, could be a little thicker. So, you know, you can say the same thing about me, is I got like holes in my back, and, you know, I've never shown up in stage shape. So, you know, there's a lot of like whats and ifs headed into the show that just comes down to who wants it and who's going to work. And, you know, I like it like that. I like working. So, you know, I'm excited headed into these, you know, next 3 weeks for Tampa, you know, next 5 weeks for Texas. And, you know, I'm focused. I'm having a good time, and feel dangerous in a good way, very good way. You know, I've gotten a lot of like, well, if you win Tampa, you're not doing Texas this year, right? Like, no, absolutely not. You know, anyone that's been keeping up with me, you know, since last year's Olympia, I made a very big, public, and clear deal about the fact that I am doing 2 shows before the Olympia this year, because I am going to figure my peak out with Ben. You know, we are definitely tracking to do that. I truly feel, you know, by this weekend I will be in the best shape that I've ever been in my life, with 3 weeks to go still. I'm drier than I've ever been at this point, sweating less than when I pose. So, you know, I feel like we're going to nail the peak, you know, the first time around, and then that second show just make it even better. And then, you know, be riding that wave into the Olympia of knowing, you know, we got the creases ironed out, and, you know, the kinks worked out, and, you know, headed into that week with that kind of confidence that I know I'm going to be peaked right. That's going to be awesome. It's going to be very, very good for me mentally. So that's why the 2 shows, that's the strategy behind them. You know, having 2 weeks in between them, that's enough time for my body to truly, you know, like reload and recover. Having a week in between them is just like a shit show of managing water and, you know, depleting and then filling back out. But having those 2 weeks really gives enough time to, you know, improve things if we want to improve a little bit, and, you know, really come with a refreshed, better look even than the first show. I really think the second show will be the best look yet.
The little cave of pain in the woods.
The cave of pain.
It's funny because people fly in from all over the world to come in and have a session with me and
see
train,
everything.
you know. And so here we have like one of the old original pendulum chest presses. There's a strength curve that's really unique to this machine. It actually falls off at the end just a little bit, so that your triceps don't pre-fatigue.
Not like overly blasted your triceps. Yeah,
so
exactly.
When you get off of this machine, you feel
That's
like...
the complaint about the plate-loaded Nautilus pieces, is while I love the mechanics of them, they get very, very, very heavy at the top.
So I started designing strength equipment. I was a competitive powerlifter, and I just started making things for myself, and I was really into high-intensity training back then.
Did the machining and welding capability come because of the interest in training, or did you have that before you started training?
It was completely sideways. You know, I was going to school, I was going to be an English major, and I was going to write novels, and I was going to travel the world on a sailboat. I had everything.
Mind, body, and spirit. I like it. Because I'm going to weld better than anyone, write better than anyone.
Oh, yeah, it's totally that's the whole thing. But I was so fascinated with Mike Mentzer and high-intensity training, Dorian Yates, all those, you know, just really amazing people. And so I started out to get certified with Mike Mentzer's group, you know, the heavy-duty thing. And you had to do a training video to get certified with you training a client. and I trained them on a machine that I invented. And Mike was like, what is that? And I'm like, well, it's just kind of a small gym. I don't train, you know, at a public gym. And so it started, I made that machine for that heavy duty protocol that he had. And that was the first pendulum piece.
Was for Mike Menzer.
It was for Mike Menzer.
That is such a cool story.
Yeah, and it was, I've never sold anything. And from then, you know, it had the squat station that everybody knows. The pendulum squat was one of those stations on there. And they were like, oh my God, you know, I'm not interested in anything else but that squat station. So I started thinking, well, maybe I got something. And so I started making that standalone squat machine. And so that was the first, the pendulum power squat came off of that multi-station machine.
So that's like the Squat Pro
Yep,
today.
that was the
pretty
Squat
much
Pro.
what it's become today.
So I didn't know anything about football or anything like that. And I thought, well, I wonder if I could, you know, go see some people. And so I started looking up NFL.com, and I thought the Buccaneers had the coolest looking helmet, so I just cold called them and said, I've got a really cool machine. Would you guys be willing to take a look at it? And they're like, yeah, we'll see you Tuesday. And I was not ready for that, so I had to schedule a vacation and load it up in a horse trailer and headed out there. And everything I did from then was just guys who had ideas, and they were like, well, what about this? Could you do this? And I had the gift of being able to
Do that.
create their visions. And so I never came out anything on my own, you know, and it was always somebody else inspiring me to, what about this? What about that? And I worked for the Special Forces. I've worked for the CIA. Like just crazy avenues opened up where these people needed special equipment. And I worked with disabled veterans and creating things for them, and it's just been my passion my whole life, and it just took off. And pendulum became big, so big that I couldn't handle it. Yeah. And that's when I sold to Rogers in 2007.
Okay, that was in 2007?
Yeah,
So guys, so all of the pieces that you see from like Rogers Athletic, the pendulum line that you see like in everyone's gym, the squat pros, the pendulum, hip press, you know, the pressing pieces, like all the really, really common ones you see in all of the good bodybuilding gyms, the NFL weight rooms. Those are his babies.
Yeah, those were the babies. And you know, they took my line and they, I like to say they Rogerized it because they had better machines than I have. Everything's handmade by me. But they had benders and things so they could give it a sexy look. And they kept all the strength curves and the pivot points correct. And the idea was that I could just design. And that's all I was going to do and live my dream out. And then I ended up, I don't know, I guess just by proxy you end up selling because no one can tell the story like you can, you know, because they're your you know, pieces. And then I just got pulled and twisted, and I found myself getting farther and farther away from design.
Which you love to do.
And that's all I wanted to do. And so, you know, we got to a point where everything I did was super relational, you know, just like me and you talking. And my wife was my #1 salesman. She would have conversations with people into the wee hours of the night about their kids, and that's who we are.
Yeah.
And I, you know, at this age, I'm like, I want to get back to that. And so
Back to your roots.
I decided this year to leave Rogers and pursue on my own masterpieces. This was the original hip press. This
I love this piece, man.
This was a really awesome piece because it's the leg drive of a deadlift. It's kind of weird to describe it, but the seated squat is more of the leg drive of a squat. Mm-hmm. But this, when you go into it, jump on there, get a feel. The strength curve drops way off down in the bottom, which allows you kind of to relax. You're starting in a semi-contracted position, and then just flare your knees as you go back out. Now, if you can imagine reaching down and grabbing a bar, pulling back and pushing through.
Yeah. I do a lot of unilateral work on this. I have the pendulum, the Rogers one, in our gym.
This is one of the pieces that will be made isolateral.
Oh, that'll be awesome.
That will be coming really quickly.
Won't have to wedge yourself all funny in there and hope you don't take your shin and knee off.
Yeah.
I tell you what, it's a motivator though, dude.
Yeah.
I like, you better not fucking miss, otherwise you're taking your knee off with the off leg.
Yeah, this was the one that the Buccaneers gave back.
Oh yeah, still got the Buccaneers pads color. That's awesome.
But for a 25-year-old machine, it's just amazing.
It's perfect.
To see it back.
And it was in an NFL weight room.
Yeah.
They're not weak.
They're not nice to equipment.
Nope.
It's not theirs. They didn't pay for it. So this was another customer that gave this back to me. This piece is.
Oh, okay. I like that.
You're probably able to load this thing insane amount of weight.
The arm path's really nice though. It doesn't like scrunch up behind you. Yeah.
It comes out and moves away from
Yeah,
you,
it doesn't
so that-
compact the joint. I've got a surgically repaired shoulder, so I'm all about things that are comfortable on your
I
shoulder.
was at Fort Bragg with this piece, and I had soldiers that were literally had red, healed bullet wounds, and they were still able to press in this machine.
That's got to be rewarding, Kelly.
That was incredible.
Yeah.
Those are the most incredible.
Those are the best ones, yeah.
Every single thing on these machines that you're going to see today are handmade. Every pivot point, every guide rod is cut, hand drilled, hand tapped. Every single thing is handmade by me.
And we'll keep the names private for now, but the people that you've pulled into this project, man, you couldn't have pulled in any better people if you wanted to.
Yeah, the people that I've stumbled on were already customers of mine, and they love high quality equipment.
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
Well, they're passionate about it. It's that they love training and they love using the equipment. They're not gym owners. They're not looking to increase their bottom line. They are brutally passionate about the equipment and what we are, the biomechanics, the design, the resistance profile, the gauge of the metal, the feel the knurling has, everything. Yeah. There's more metal in the handles of this bicep curl than there are in some back pieces made by people these days.
so you're able to rotate these handles as you came up. And you can go from a reverse curl to an underhand curl. I mean, it just...
It's very smooth. I like that.
You have the ability to manipulate the strength curve just a little bit if you want.
With the counterbalance.
There's another pin up on the top if you want it to fall off a little bit more. This is a seated tricep pro. When I was competing in powerlifting, I loved doing skull crushers, and so that was one of the things I thought, well, I'm going to come up with a way to do skull crushers safely. So you kind of duck your head down and pull forward.
Okay. This is another one of those don't miss, so you just knock yourself the fuck out with it, huh? There's a lot of great equipment on the market right now in terms of its mechanical setup, its biomechanics, and a resistance profile, but it just isn't made to have the poundages that me and some people put on them. They get very wobbly and rickety and unsafe feeling. So just having something overbuilt, like I saw there, it's very exciting. It will do a lot for my, confidence in training that the machine's not going to wobble and tweak something on me. So it's very cool.
We put an oversized foot pad on there so that you have the ability to do knees over the toes, or if you want to bring your foot farther up and get more hamstrings involved, you can bring your feet all the way up to the top. Awesome for doing sissy squats in there. This is kind of like a brainchild of Dorian Hamilton and Leo studio, getting together and coming up with
See that unilateral switch.
yeah, so this is pure iron strength, which is a new project, and it is going to be a project that is made to make ridiculously overbuilt equipment. It's all going to be exclusive, signature series, autographed, but we've taken some really beautiful pieces that are no longer in existence, and we're like, what would you do differently? We have 1.5 inch shafting on everything we do because why not? You know, it's like having too much cheese on a pizza, right? So this machine here has got 2, 4, 6, 8, 12 1.5 inch bearings, stainless steel shafting, unbreakable machine here. But it also is 7-gauge steel. One of the things that this machine is they're known to be extremely heavy, and so I've changed the ratio a little bit to make the starting position a little bit better.
You put it on the unilateral?
Yep.
That's what I'm excited to try. I'm so uneven from my shoulder, that's why I've never bought any of the flex leverage stuff because it's all connected.
Yeah.
Never seen a flex lever edge do that before, huh? Dude, this feels amazing.
Now, I had to temporarily put this pad on here just because that's all I had. I've ordered some narrower pads, you know, 'cause a lot of guys want more scapula and traction in there, so we will put a smaller pad on there just for that reason. You know, this is actually the same pad I like.
Send me one, but
Yeah,
put that one on mine.
okay, we'll put that on yours.
That thing is legit. Alright guys, so off day thing. So every Wednesday for the last probably 2 or 3 months now, I've been coming and doing this shoot at BTO range, and it's on Wednesday nights, which is my off day, so it's worked absolutely perfectly. And it's been awesome from the standpoint of it is nothing to do with bodybuilding, and it keeps my mind off of bodybuilding for at least a day, so it's really nice. So I'm about to smash a meal. They're nice enough to always heat my food up. I always eat a meal right before we shoot, and then we will get to it. Shooting 3 stages tonight, I believe. When I first started coming to this shoot, this was right there. I've lost 20 pounds in the last 2 months. I'm literally about to have to buy a new belt. So whenever you shoot, you see the targets, how they have like the little pieces of tape all over them. After each person takes their run, we'll score the targets and then we'll tape over the rounds. So it's really quick and easy to see if you were good or bad and which you scored. all the rest meals, and that's about it. Really enjoy doing this. It's been awesome finding a community of guys that has like nothing to do with bodybuilding and shares similar interests. So it's been very refreshing to me to be accepted the way I am. So shout out to all the guys at the match. If any of y'all watch this, really appreciate y'all. But yeah, today was a great day. Looking forward to tomorrow being a great day. It's legs and not that many more before the show, so I'm excited.